I lived there until the age of 33.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, we were kids, we were playing with other kids, everything. And we lived in an apartment building on the 5th floor. So I remember perfectly what was going those days, because when the Americans, no, before that, at one time during the war, we saw in practically several wars of buildings and villas. Villas is a kind of house. On the walls there was written November 1542. Everywhere it was written with big numbers. 15th November 42. And nobody took any attention to it. But later on, we assumed, and we learned also that that date was the date where the Jews were supposed to be deported, to be put in a camp, concentration camps, and to be deported. We learned that many years after. So the Americans saved us, really. They came 1 week before. They landed November the 8th, 42. So we have been saved just by 1 week. So at that time, there was, since I lived in the 5th floor, we were just in our balcony. We had a very nice view from the port of Casablanca. And every morning we saw this ocean, that's the Atlantic Ocean, perfectly, like if we were just right in front of the ocean. And one morning, the sirens blew, and we knew we were in war, but not in North Africa. The war was in France and in Europe, not in North Africa. So we saw, when we heard the sirens, people went down to get in a safe place. So the young ones, my brother and me, we stayed in the balcony, and we saw an armada of warships just at the horizon, an armada of warships. And then we saw the planes from those ships coming and going through the port of Casablanca and bombarding one battleship which was damaged at that time, damaged by the war in Europe. And the French sent it to Morocco for repair. So the battleship could not go outside of the port to combat the ships, the American ships. So it was damaged, but the Americans were throwing bombs on it, because every time this battleship, which called the Jean Bart, every time he threw a bomb, the city was trembling. So I remember then even one piece of a bombshell went down near the building where we lived, not far, probably 100, 200 meters. And that bomb, the shell has put a hole in the street near a school, just right near a school, French school. So this then we saw after this battle, because the Americans wanted to land in Casablanca, but with this battle they couldn't. So they left and they went a little bit further in north of Casablanca, roughly 30 miles north of Casablanca. They landed in Fedala. So the army, the soldiers were coming from Fedala to Casablanca walking. And I remember in front of my house, my building where we lived, the soldiers were walking. They were so tired. And they were walking and distributing chewing gums, chocolate bars to young children. They were asking, they were so happy. They were after them. And so the soldiers gave them chewing gums, chocolate bars, and everything. And this is what I remember perfectly. And it was like if it was yesterday when I saw this bombing of the Jean Bar. It's unbelievable. So before the landing, the life in Morocco, due to the war, was not easy. It was not easy. I remember we didn't have any refrigerators, no ranges where to cook, no oven, everything was rationed. When we wanted to have bread, it's with a kind of ticket which we had to go there every morning, make the line to get one bread for the whole day. We were having sugar once a month, also making long lines to have sugar. Flour, don't count on it. Clothes. We had practically not having clothes. We could buy clothes. It was impossible. So every time, if my brother had a jacket, he was wearing that jacket. After that jacket was worn, my mother was turning it to pass it to my other brother. This was the same for the shoes. No clothing, everything was rationed. I remember also one night I spent the whole night making the line to get charcoal in the morning in order to have my mother cook the food, because we didn't have at that time ranges. So my mother was cooking on a kind of a small pot in clay. This is the way we were living at that time before. Let's stop.
Okay. Okay, can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
Okay. So, during World War II and during the Vichy French control of Morocco, did you ever say, I don't want to be French, I'm Moroccan? Or did you always consider yourself French, even during World War II?
Yes.
Yes, what? Can you answer
We
the whole sentence?
we considered ourselves as French because we lived in Morocco. The ancestors came from Spain in 1492. And at one time, the German were not, the soldiers were not in Morocco as yet. There was a commission. The German were in civilian clothes. They were civilians running their business in civilians, not in as a soldiers. And they were driving, I remember perfectly well, driving Mercedes-Benz cars, big cars, all black. And at one time, I remember when President Roosevelt came to Casablanca, they had a meeting in Casablanca in an hotel where there was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin. And we knew that they were in Casablanca right after when they left Casablanca, but we didn't know it before. That was secret. So they came to probably adjust how the operation is going to be from North Africa all over going north to Europe.
The king?
Excuse me?
The king during World War II, the king of Morocco?
Yes.
He did a lot to protect the Jews.
The
Can you
king,
talk about that?
the king of Morocco wanted to protect the Jews because at one time the German or the Vichy government told them that the Jews have to be excluded from French schools. They have even to be deported. And he said, no, the Jews are my subjects. They are my subjects. They have to stay where they are. And we were really protected by the king, Mohammed V.
Did you love him?
Yes, yes. And also,
Can you say, yes, we loved the king?
yes, we
Yeah.
loved him very much. We also prayed for him every time at Kippur, especially during the whole high holidays. We were always praying for him, praying for his life and everything.
Did you get along with the Muslims?
I can say yes. I can say yes. They were very friendly.
I'm sorry, but when you answer, can you say complete, like, yes, we got along with the Muslims? Because just yes and no is hard to edit. So if you can just say, yes, we got along
okay.
with the Muslims.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe ask the question that I repeat the question and then answer.
Okay. Yes, we have been in friendship with the Arabs, and they liked us. They liked us. It's only French the French people under the Vichy government, which were not so friendly with the Jews, because in certain areas Jews were not permitted to go in. Jews were excluded sometimes to get in, to go to bars, dancing. They were excluded. And this is, I can remember.
Yeah. What was your family life like? What was your house like and Shabbat and your mother? What was your home life like?
The home life at that time was okay, except that my mother is the one who had to go buy vegetables, fruits, and she was going almost every day because we had no refrigerator where to keep the food. So she was going to the market every day, and she was getting a helper to get everything, to bring everything what she bought to the house. We were on the 5th floor. We were in a nice building with an elevator, but the elevator never worked, never. So we had to climb all the stairs so many times, and perhaps this is why it was an exercise for us, and for me especially. Perhaps this strongest my heart.
Do you remember when Israel was established and what that was like in Morocco?
Yes, I remember when it was established. We were very happy to learn that. I have even one of my friends who tried to go to Israel, and he went on that vessel which has sunk, which was called Exodus. He was on that vessel. Never reached Israel.
In 1948, were there riots where you lived when Israel was created?
There were some riots, especially when the king, Mohammed V, when the king died. When he passed away, there were riots everywhere in the city. I remember we were driving, my wife and I, and my oldest child, Kathy. She was at that time 3.5 years old, and we were supposed to go to a wedding. And riots were everywhere. I had at that time a Volkswagen, and every street where we passed by driving, there were riots. At one time, the people were banging on the car. Even my daughter can still remember. We were really afraid. There were people, Arabs, taking cars and leave them, and everything. And we were in the middle of that riot. It took us so many hours to get back to our house, to our home, and the wedding was cancelled. This happened when the king got passed away. They were excited. They were all excited. I remember also one time when my old brother, David, was working far from, in the suburb of Casablanca. And he told me one day, I'm going to take your Volkswagen to go work because my car is in repairs. I said, no problem. He went to work with my Volkswagen, and there were riots also there. And he tried to get out. He had an Arab friend. He said, David, you have to leave this place. You have to leave this place right away because you're going to be killed. You're going to be killed. So he followed his advice. He went away. When he was going away, people shot on the car, and my car was having a kind of a bullet through it. He got lucky. He went away and he got saved.
Did you go to school? What kind of school did you go to?
I went to Alliance Israélite Universelle, where all my schooling was there up to, I can say, high school.
What about synagogue and Jewish life?
At that time, I was not too religious. I tell you the truth, I was not too religious. I went to synagogue once a year for the high holidays, once or twice a year for the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. That's it. And
what about Shabbat?
Shabbat, we were doing the Friday nights at my parents', having all the family, but no synagogue. At that time, I was not religious. Yeah. My mother was religious. My mother knew at that time how to read Hebrew books. And when she came to America, she went to the synagogue every Shabbat, And she was sometimes correcting the rabbi when he made an error on the Sefer Torah.
Did you have a bar mitzvah?
I had a bar mitzvah very quickly. It was one morning, we had a bar mitzvah. 3 brothers had the bar mitzvah at the same time. So it was quick, and we had to do it. It was practically just family.
Okay. And what about the Moroccan independence in 1956? What do you remember from that?
Yeah, well, in 1956, when Morocco got the independence, people were happy. The Arabs especially were very, very happy. And I cannot say we were happy because at that time Israel was existing. So our views and our thinking and everything was for Israel. But we couldn't go anywhere. Passports were very hard to get. We couldn't travel with much money. I remember when I left Morocco for Canada, for Montreal, I was able to get with me just probably few $100s, not more. People were not allowed to take money with them. They are not allowed to take any asset with them.
Why?
Why people cannot take? Because the rules, the government rules, did not permit everyone getting out from Morocco to get anything from there. So people were going just with a luggage for containing clothes, and that's it. No other things. Yeah. It was not easy to move, for example, to travel. Not easy at all. Not easy. To go outside of Morocco, it was very hard to get a passport, very hard to get money with us, to bring with us, yeah.
Did you consider yourself free, or did you feel like you were somehow restricted in Morocco because you were Jewish?
I was considering myself free and not free at the same time. Because since we had all these privations, I cannot say we were free. But we lived sometimes in harmony with the Arabs. Except that the French people, they were really, really doing bad things to the Jews.
Like what?
Like I said, not permitting Jews to go to bars, to dancing, to sometimes even movies, theaters. This is
So all of the...
Can we take... I'm just going to put in a cool battery.
Okay, yeah,
So
let's
30
wait.
seconds.
We're going to take a break for a second. Are you? Yeah.
to do more or less what I said.
Yeah. No, you gave a lot of your memories from... I'm sure you have so many more memories, but you know.
Yeah, the one who knows better than me is Sydney.
Yeah. He's older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay, so all of the Jews in Morocco started to leave. And what was your feeling? What was your experience when they all started to leave?
The Jews were angry to leave, and at that time there were some delegations coming from Israel and encouraging Jews' families to leave Morocco. And everything was secret. They came using other names, I knew one of them who was a neighbor of my where I lived before. He came under another name from Israel, and he was encouraging people to leave, and they were contacting a lot of people, especially in the mountains, trying to get them out from there, not in the big cities, from the mountains. They lived like Berbers. They were trying to get them out from Morocco, and they were telling them that they can leave. They have to be prepared to leave any day, any time, any hour, day or night. And practically this was done during the night. They brought buses. They took the families. They went through the roads in Morocco without nobody knowing it. No passports, nothing. And they went from Casablanca up to the zone which the Spanish were. Tétouan, Tangiers, Ceuta. Those are ports in north of Morocco where they get these people embarked on small ships getting out from Morocco. It was clandestine.
Yeah. So why did you leave? When did you decide to leave?
I did not decide at that time to go for an aliyah for Israel. I decided after when I got married. I got married in 1956. I was working for a company, an American company, General Tire. And when I finished there, I had a contract with them 2 years. When I finished working with them, we said, well, our life in here in Morocco is not easy anymore. Let's go in Canada. We decided to go to Canada because when we get engaged, my wife and I, we asked for a visa to come to California, America. The visa we asked for, we made our demand in 1955. And since 1955 to 1962, when we left Morocco, we didn't hear anything about our visa. We couldn't go to America. The American consulate did not give us the visa. So we went to Canada. We said, let's wait there instead of waiting here. So this is why they decided us to go to Montreal. So we stayed in Montreal almost 17 years, waiting for our visa. The visa has been redone by a brother of mine, Sydney, who lived in America, and he has done his papers, and we got the visa quickly, rapidly. Since we were okay in Montreal, I said, well, we don't have to go to United States. We are okay here. So we stayed there in Montreal 16 years until the time when the company where I was working had to move from Montreal to Toronto because there are some events in Montreal between French and the Confederation. So we decided to move at that time instead of going to Toronto to stay in the snow and everything. We were not used to the snow. And we moved we got the visa quickly, thanks to my brother Sydney, who made the application for us and everything, the affidavit. And we came here to Los Angeles. Since that time, we are here in Los Angeles.
Why didn't you want to stay in Morocco?
Because people were Where?
Can you say,
Yeah.
ask me the question, repeat the question and then answer. So I asked, why didn't you want to stay in Morocco?
I didn't want to stay in Morocco because people were leaving almost every day. They were leaving the country. They were leaving the country. My friends were leaving the country. Families were leaving the country. And it was not promising to stay there. And especially we had a child, Cathy, she's born in Casablanca. We said, well, we have no more any future in here, Casablanca. We have to move. So we decided, instead of waiting for the visa, American visa, we decided to go to Montreal. Especially one of my wife's sister was already in Montreal. She went there in the year 55, and she was encouraging us. She said, why don't you come to Montreal? I know you are waiting for the visa for the United States, but come to Montreal. Maybe you can wait for it there in Montreal. So she encouraged us to move to Montreal. And this is why we decided to go there.
When you were in Morocco, did you live in Jewish neighborhoods?
No, we never lived in a Mela. When we were in Morocco, my father wanted to have always nice apartments. He always wanted to have his family well protected. We never lived in a Mela or any Jewish suburb. We were in European suburbs.
Did you belong to any organizations in Morocco, any Jewish organizations?
At that time, no. At that time, we didn't belong to any organization. We didn't belong to any organization because we lived in European sectors.
Okay. Can you tell me about this picture? And you can show the camera the picture.
Well, this is a picture at...
Here, you have to hold it higher and start over.
This is a picture when I was young. I was a member of this orchestra, which was called Foyer Musical de Casablanca. I was very young. I'm in here, probably here, yeah? And I was playing clarinet. I have my younger brother who was also in here. He was playing drums. And this is just an orchestra where we were playing from time to time, having these repetitions done probably once or twice a week.
Okay, there's one other picture that I want you to show. And if you can say what your wife is wearing and what it is, just hold it up high.
Okay, this is a picture of one or two nights before my wedding with my wife. We see my wife in here. She's wearing what we call la grande robe, which is the dress, Moroccan dress, which every bride was wearing for when she get married. And here we see also, I have two sisters in here. I have a brother in here, Sydney, with his wife. And this was, as I'm telling you, probably one or two nights before the real wedding.
Are there any other thoughts or that you want to document about being a Moroccan Jewish man?
Regarding other thoughts, I think, as far as I can remember, I told you probably everything I know, unless something else came out, I don't know.
Have you gone back to Morocco?
I went back once, long time ago, I can say probably 40 years ago. I went back to Morocco 40 years ago, and life was not the same as we knew and we left. Everything was not in a good condition. For example, we took the train, my wife and I took the train from Casablanca to Rabat, which is 70 miles away from one city to the other. We took the train. At that train, the first class was always nice, red velvet on the seats and everything. When we sat on these velvet cushions in the train, there was a thick of dust. There was no maintenance. I had to open the luggage to take a shirt to put it on the seat in order to sit on it. There was no maintenance, no cleaning, nothing. So French have done a good job since the beginning of the protectorate, but after when Morocco took over, the maintenance was lacking.
I think that's it.